What is up, Detroit Lions fans? We have a very, very special guest with us today. Brett Kollmann, how are you doing, my man?
Doing wonderful. Thank you for being patient with me while I restarted everything. Appreciate that.
It is perfectly fine. All right, let's go around the table real fast. We got Mr. MicroMike. What up, though?
Hey man, let's have some fun. We got a great guest here. Talk some Detroit Lions. Let's get it.
All right, we got Jim Bordeaux in the building.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
All right, we got Andrew from Real Detroit Lions fans in the building. What up, Doe?
Hey, man, what's up?
All right, and we got Mr. Luke G in the building. What up, Doe?
Hey, salute Phil G's and Pride Nation. Let's get it.
All right, sweet. Hey, Mike, want to do roll call for me real quickly?
Absolutely, I can do some roll call. What is going on? Eric Smith, the Hook Cam, Brian Farrell, K-Man, SZN, Chris Cashbaugh, James Willis, Rich Law, The General View, Brandon Kenny, Carl Campbell, Devin99, James Willis, Andrew Isham, Dre Barnes, Noble Sports. What's good, fellas? Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get it.
All right. Let's start things off with this one. Brett, are you okay with going first?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sweet.
Hey, you know what? Really quick, I hate to do this to you, PD, but I got to put this out there because I saw this the other day and I thought this was the coolest thing ever. Many of y'all should already know who Brett Kollmann is. If you don't, shame on you. But it was something he did in a video that I thought was so simple and was one of the greatest gestures, and that was he offered to go out and grocery shop for anybody who's elderly and could not do it. I want that to spread and be a contagious suggestion. If you have an elderly neighbor or somebody who's too afraid to go out or can't go out, please be a help to them and go out and go shopping for them. So to you, sir, I say thank you and I appreciate that. That was an amazing thing. It's something that I was doing with my neighbors already, and the fact that you're doing it, that's phenomenal. Just wanted to let you know you are appreciated for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've only had to do it for a couple people, and I've been doing it for my in-laws as well. Sadly, my father-in-law, he had to get a quintuple bypass surgery, like literally right after everything kind of started going to hell. So they sent him home 2 days after a quintuple bypass, and so obviously he's extremely vulnerable at the moment. So I'm already out shopping for family, every other day. So I know how scary it can be for them, and for people that don't have family in the area. Hopefully it just kind of helps out.
Listen, people, we got to spread that. I want that to be spread. If you have a elderly neighbor, maybe they're not elderly, maybe they handicapped, maybe they're just afraid to come out the house. It don't take much for you to leave a small little note on the door. Hey, if you want, leave me your grocery list or order it and whatever, and I can go and pick it up, and it would be phenomenal. So like I said, I just wanted him to know that was a huge thing for me personally, because to put it out there with the number of subscribers he got, I'm surprised he didn't get like 1 million orders. Like, yes, let me get some donuts and a few coffees. So I was impressed with, but I wanted to put that out there. Now, PD, the show is back on you, bro. Let's get this going.
Well, that was a good thing that is a good thing you're doing, Brett. But basically, here's what my question. The first question we're going to ask is, what improvements does Matt Patricia need to make for the Lions to be successful in 2020? And do you see him fixing those flaws? Brett, I want to start with you because you got to see Matt Patricia and how he does things up close and personal at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, and I actually really liked his practice structure a lot. It was extremely efficient. It worked the kids really hard. The first day of practice, which I think was a Tuesday, if I remember correctly, it was either a Monday or a Tuesday. It was really cold. It was like 30-something degrees, windy. Not as bad, obviously, as it can get up in Michigan in the winter, but for a California guy like me, it certainly wasn't comfortable. And so he actually ran practice over by like 20 or 25 minutes when everybody was just freezing and miserable, because he just wanted to see how people react. But at the same time, even though he was tough in that regard, again, he was still hyper efficient with every single drill. Like, every single drill had a purpose. His installs went very smoothly. And so I personally, I'm a fan of his style because, again, he coaches guys hard and he pushes them to their limits, but at the same time, he's an excellent teacher and he's highly efficient. So I think you can see a lot of his Belichick influences in those two ways. In terms of what improvements I think need to be made, a lot of it is just communication, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen the numbers in terms of how bad the Lions defense was last year. But to me, when I watched them, a lot of it was mental errors and communication errors, especially in the linebacking core. The linebackers in particular, I don't know what the hell they were looking at half the time, but their run fits were just extremely messy. And so I think when I look at all the moves they've made and bringing in old guys that Patricia has worked with before, it was purely to fix communication errors and just kind of decision-making errors on defense, because just things were not getting read correctly for how this system is supposed to function. So I think really the main hurdle they have is just those mental errors. And I think their offseason moves speak to that.
All right. I like it. All right, let's go to you, Jim. What do you think Matt Patricia needs to – what do you want to see Matt Patricia do better, and do you see him fixing it?
I want to see him use the clock a little better. Clock management was poor last year. I don't want to see 12 men on the field a lot. I don't like that either. Does he fix a lot of that? I guess he could. We'll have to wait and see on it. I mean, I guess that's the best I could say.
All right. How about you, MicroMike?
What I want to see is pressure to get on the quarterback, whether that be the defensive line or, again, what Brett was saying from the linebacking core, to be placed in the correct positions. I felt like a lot of players, specifically on defense, were not put in positions to succeed. Again, I'm not sure, like you were saying, if it was a mental error or if it was a structural error due to the player. But again, he did get players from New England this offseason, a lot of players, and hopefully these players can go ahead and be placed in a position to succeed. They understand the system. And once you can get after the quarterback, once you can get these places put in the spot that he wants them to, then the system can work. But we got to get pressure on the quarterback. And we have to make sure that quarterbacks are not sitting in the pocket 5 to 8 seconds long, picking a defense apart.
All right. I like it. Andrew, what do you want to see Patricia get better at in 2020? And do you see him fixing that thing?
Honestly, it's coaching. I want him to coach better. There were so many times where I'm watching the game and people did not know their assignment. You know, running back comes out of the backfield trying to run a route, and we have two linebackers playing man coverage on the guy, and then the tight end's just completely open. You know, those errors are so crucial, and it seemed to happen all the time on 3rd and long, or, you know, just more crucial plays throughout drives that could have ended up being a punt, but instead of it's a first down or a touchdown. So I want him to coach better, because offense, defense, special teams, there were so many mental errors that it causes that rippling effect. So we could have had control, you know, we were winning the game, and then this one play happens and now we're kind of playing from behind, or now it's a tie game. And it hurts when it's such simple things to fix and it just doesn't happen. So I want them to coach better, because I think we have a talented team. So I just want them to execute.
All right, good. Luke, what do you want to see Matt Patricia fix? I can't wait to see what you have to say.
No, I mean, listen. Everybody touched on it. The coaching ability has to be there. For me, situational football, he needs to get away from analytics. I hate these coaches who rely on analytics to do situational football. If analytics was a proven option for situational football, we would have less mistakes. But the biggest thing is, I think everybody already touched on it. And the best thing about what everybody touched on is the fact that the worst part about this team, which was the defense, he completely overhauled it. So I'm always going to be for a person who says, okay, well, my defense sucked, and he blew it up. To me, that's a good sign that he's trying to get better and improve upon himself. But I like what Brett said, communication. We don't have this many people coming out talking crazy and bad about him and about this team if he is a better and a more effective communicator. He can't try to be like nobody. He can't do it the Patriot way. He can't do it the Bill Belichick way. He has to do it the Matt Patricia way, the Lion way. And to me, I think he's making those moves to try to be in the balance arena for that.
All right, perfect. I like these answers a lot, actually. All right, I'm going to give a slightly different one. I want to see him be more flexible with the scheme, flexible with his players. Like with the scheme, does it really hurt to add a little wrinkle here or there to make the scheme more player friendly, or more flexible with the way he handles players in the sense that of how he balances his personalities and all the egos he has on the team? Now, I don't know if that one's out of left field, but do I see him being more flexible? No, I do not see him being more flexible, because every signing that the Lions made pretty much enforced how we want to do it. He wants to do it his way, and really only his way. I'm not against it entirely. Like, if you're going to do it your way, then get the players to do it your way. But yeah, that's what I would say about that whole thing. All right. Question number 2. What do you think of the Lions acquisitions, and how much do they improve this team? Is that even the right question to be asking? Now, before I go through the panel, I'm going to read you all some stats real fast. The difference between being bottom 10 and top 10. The 10th ranked team in points allowed in 2019 allowed 19.8 points per game. The 23rd ranked team in points allowed per game allowed 24.9 points per game. The 10th ranked team in yards allowed per game allowed 331.7 yards per game, while the 23rd ranked team in yards allowed per game allowed 374.5. Where we ranked 20, the difference between being where we ranked and getting to the top half of the league. We ranked 26th in points allowed, allowing 26.4 points per game. To get to the upper half of the league, you would have needed to give up only 22.4 points per game. The Lions ranked 31st in yards allowed per game, allowing 400.4 yards per game. To get to the top half of the league and rank 16th, you would have needed to allow 346.8 yards per game. All right, so that might be a mouthful, but my point is the difference between being really good and really bad is very thin. So, Mike, with those stats in mind, how do these Lions acquisitions affect the team, and do they make them better, and how much better do they make them, or is that even the wrong question to be asking?
When I see the acquisitions that was taken, to me, it's more of a fit when it comes to scheme as well as attitude. I feel the individuals on the team that Bob Quinn as well as Matt Patricia decided to remove was simply because they did not do their quote-unquote Patriot way. And I feel the guys that they got is more or less will help out in that stance when it comes to understanding positions where players need to be on the field, what to do when offenses are on the field. To me, this is more about defense, and there's a lot of issues last year with communications and, again, with being in positions to succeed. And I feel it, to me, regardless of the stats, I think that's why he got the people that he got, all the New England got. And so I want to send this to Brett in. What do you think when it comes to this? Do you think it's more of a stats, or simply because he wanted that Patriot way?
I think a lot of it is about culture and how he coaches. Again, he coaches guys really hard. I saw it myself for 3 straight days. Even players that he had never worked with before that were college kids. I mean, he was on them. That's just how he knows how to coach. And that's not a bad thing. But there are going to be a lot of players that aren't really receptive to that style. And I think players that we've seen were not receptive to that style have been shipped out of town, particularly in the secondary. It's happened 2 or 3 times now, most recently with Darius Slay. And so I think and it,
Brett, you're breaking up a little bit.
Is getting?
You're breaking up a little bit. It's a little, still a little fuzzy.
Let me try this. Hold on.
All right. We'll come back in one moment. Jim, the question was, what do you think of the Lions acquisitions, and how much do they improve the team?
This is a difficult question in some ways. I don't think talent-wise we're better. I think attitude-wise we might be better, and I think fit-wise we might be better. problem is we probably won't have too much in the way of mini camps. Don't know. NFL says they're going forward with everything. We'll see. But I think that hurts us just a little bit. And also, Patricia has his guys. I just want to see how that works. But if you think we're better overall in talent-wise, I don't believe that. I think it's either we're kind of even or we're, that I think we even took a little bit of a step back. But that's okay. I mean, it's not a bad thing. If you got players like that are discontent in the locker room and and all that stuff, I guess that you need players that buy in, and somebody that's buying in, it might work over talent. I'm not really sure yet.
All right, that's not bad. Luke.
I mean, listen, I heard the question. I mean, listen, let's get right into it. The truth is this. I don't care if the question, if we're getting better. I don't think that should be the question. The question should be, does he have his guys? And if he has his guys, then that's all that matters to me. I just don't want it to be a situation where we're now talking about give him 2 more years because he didn't get all his guys. I want him to get all his guys so he can run a system that he want to run, that he's comfortable with. So like Jim said, we can see if it works. If that works, great. I'm prepared to eat crow and drink it down with whatever y'all want to hand to me. If it don't work, I'm prepared to call a spade. And so for me, the acquisition that we took, it's a lot of camp bodies in there. There's, we got 9 draft picks. So that out of the 9, we're going to probably walk away with 6 players who's going to stay on this team. That means that we got to get past that, and we already got 81 players. So we got to get down to 53 or 55 or whatever the number is this year. Nonetheless, I just care about, did we get the players that he wants? I don't want any more. I don't want to know if we got better. I don't know if we got better if he got the players he wants.
All right, no, I agree. I think he did get the players he wants. I think the Slay trade 1,000,000% had to happen at this point. But Andrew, what do you think of this whole thing?
I'm probably in the minority here, but I think the acquisitions are actually pretty good. When you look at a lot of people we shipped out, it was people that either were not performing, did not fit the scheme, or were a distraction to our franchise. So am I happy we lost Slay? No. Was it bound to happen? Yes. Even if he stayed for a year or two, I don't want to give a 31-year-old cornerback a huge contract. So I would have been pissed if they re-signed him after, So you look at Desmond Trufant. Trufant is kind of in a similar situation as Slay. He's underrated for his franchise. Not a lot of people give him the credit that he deserves, and he's a pretty talented cornerback. You look at Harmon, you look at Jamie Collins, and you look at Danny Shellen. All 3 of those guys were a huge factor in the #1 defense this past year. All 3 of them were starters for the Patriots. So, yeah, I think we upgraded in those positions because Snacks sure as heck wasn't doing anything. Ashawn was decent, but he just got, a pay increase for leaving. And then you look at, assigning like Big V on the offense and what we did with losing Glasgow and losing Rick Wagner. Is it an upgrade? I don't think so, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. We've never really seen Big V play, a full season at right tackle, potentially in the guard position. So I think overall, in terms of the acquisitions, I think they did a great job for finding players that have the right mentality, that have been productive before, and that also know the scheme. So overall, I think in that trend and that sense, we did a great job.
All right, now I think Brett is back now. Brett, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, much better. All
right, cool.
Sorry about that. But all right, what's your take on what the Lions have done in the offseason so far?
My overall philosophy is that talent wins games, but culture wins championships, and that's really everything that Patricia was doing. He coaches guys really hard, but you need to have players in the building that are receptive to that coaching, that need to be okay with being coached hard. And the culture in New England is shut up and do what I say, and we're going to win championships, and that works. But again, you need to have 52 or 53 guys in that locker room that are okay with that. And so I don't know 100% if guys like Darius Slay were okay with that coaching approach, or really anybody that they've shipped out of town over the last 2 years. But they're bringing in guys that they know are okay with Patricia's coaching style because they come from that exact same style in New England and they've worked with him before. So again, talent can win you a lot of games, but culture can win you championships. And we've seen that with New England for the last 20 years. So, did they upgrade at talent in certain positions? No. Did they upgrade at culture and meshing with the coaching staff and, understanding the system and communication and not making mental errors? Yes. And in the end, I think that's really what matters more.
Yeah. That's why my stance was exactly what it was. About I don't care if they improved it or not. Did he get his guys? That's going to be the end all be all for me. Did he get the right guys? And I think you hit that nail on the head in terms of if these are the guys who don't mind being coached hard, and as you say, shut up and win championship. Great, great. As long as he got those guys, I'm good.
All right. Now, my take real fast is that I really do like what the Lions have done. And like I read with those stats, the difference between being good and being bad can be very thin. And every 1% that you improve your team can be everything. So that's why I like the signings. And also, I like what Brett said about the culture. That's honestly probably closer to like a 5% increase of the team just because we have more guys that are buying in finally. So, yeah, that's my take. All right, next question. Aside from the head coach, what is the most important ingredient to the Lions being successful in 2020? I'll start this off with you, Luke. What do you think is the most important ingredient for the Lions being successful in 2020, aside from Matt Patricia?
No. Coach's side to me is commitment and consistency. These are the two C's that we just don't never seem to have. If you're going to be consistent with something that's going to build an identity, something that can be carried over. When you think of the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think all their defenses, and you think of the Dallas Cowboys. They got a running game and they got an offensive line. There's some signature to those teams. We need to start to be consistent and committing to our consistency to have that same signature to our team. What's going to be our identity? If we're going to be a running team, commit to the run and be consistent at committing to the run. This snap count stuff got to die. But to me, consistency and to be committed to that is the only thing that we should be focusing on that's going this year.
I like it a lot. Brett, as an outside perspective, what do you view as the most important thing for the Lions to be successful in 2020, aside from the head coach?
Health, usually. The success of a team comes down to how healthy and how healthy can the roster be. I mean, from week to week, how many of the same guys do you have all playing together? Because that helps with communication, that helps with timing, that helps with everything. Is people staying healthy. Don't even start with Stafford staying healthy himself. He's carried this franchise for many years, in my opinion, literally to the point where it broke his back, I guess. So, obviously he's got to stay on the field. And I don't know if it's a training staff issue or if it's a turf issue. Like, I don't know what it is, but it always seems like I legitimately don't remember the last time I saw the Lions play a game with all 22 of their starters actually on the field.
Wow. I like that one a lot, actually. That didn't even cross my mind. But no, I like that health thing and the whole Stafford thing. But Mike, aside from that, Patricia, what do you think is the most important thing for the Lions to be successful in 2020?
Well, I think that there needs to be 48 likes right now. I see that there's 32. Also, our special guest here is Brett Kollmann. If you're not subscribed to his channel, you are crazy. It's legitimately awesome. The guy is very instructive, influential when it comes to the NFL, and his videos are extremely something you must listen to. When it comes to the Detroit Lions, I think it's very important, again, to get young talent on this team that fits exactly what Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn want. We have an NFL draft here, and we can finally get some blue chip players, specifically with that third pick, or if they trade back a couple of picks, to really place a dog on defense, in my opinion. And I think that will really tip the scale, at least for talent-wise. On this defense, we have a good complementary individuals on defense, but we don't have that Ndamukong Suh guy as of right now. And I think in this draft, we can get that, and I'm sure there's individuals as well in the later rounds that the Lions could target. And what I really want to ask Brett is, he was at the Senior Bowl. What is individuals that you saw do you think that Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn could target to really help this team out?
Ooh, that's a good question. Just kind of going through the roster right now. I'll kind of go position by position. Receiver to me is fine. Is it spectacular? No, but I'm a big Kenny Golladay fan. I still think Danny Amendola can get it done in the slot. Allison as like a wide receiver 4, I'm okay with. So receiver to me is fine. So they don't necessarily need to load up on receivers, even though that was probably the most loaded Senior Bowl receiver ever. Offensive line, the signing of Vaitai helps at guard, but I still think they need help at tackle. So I look at guys they're going to be able to get later, like a Ben Barch out of St. John's, who's a D3 guy. So he'll probably end up going day 2, but he had a really, really nice week. His one issue, I think, was he's a natural left tackle, and then they kind of moved him over to right tackle in the middle of practice just to see how he did, and then he immediately got absolutely dominated by Terrell Lewis in his first rep at right tackle. So he's not used to right tackle. It'll probably take him a while to get used to it, assuming Taylor Decker's still playing left tackle for them. But I do think Ben Barch is a solid option for them. He's a really good athlete. And again, when he's playing left tackle, I think his hands are really good. He just needs to get used to that position switch. I look at Shane Lemieux, who didn't actually end up going to the Senior Bowl, but originally he was supposed to. He's a guard out of Oregon, who I think is really, really underrated, specifically as a zone blocker. I really like how he works combination blocks and zone blocking, works up to the second level. He's really, really smart, really solid. Tight end, I think, is probably fine because they already took Hawkinson last year, but you can never really have enough. So maybe if they're looking more for like a traditional H-back type, you could maybe look at, who's the Notre Dame kid? Chase Claypool, who projects more as a wide receiver, but he's really only a couple donuts away from tight end. So I mean, he's already 230 and he runs,
Donuts.
4.44 flat. So
yeah, like 4.46.
Yeah. So, you add a couple pounds to him, you make him a move tight end, and then you basically just have diet Evan Ingram, which paired up with Hawkinson, I think would be fun. So there's a lot of guys on offense I think you can look at. On defense, I like the Shelton signing, so I don't really think they need a nose anymore. In terms of defensive tackle depth, Neville Gallimore is probably the big one I would look at. I think he's a really good penetrating 3 technique. Even though he played the 0 at OU, he's extremely explosive, high motor player, really loose in the hips. I mean, he threw a spin move against Texas where it's, how many 315 pounders do you see throwing spin moves?
Brett, I was liking you until you brought that up because that's an old wound. I'm a Texas fan, and that's when I became a fan of Gallimore because I was like, how is he able to spin like that fast and close on the quarterback? Yeah, it's not normal. and he eats up double teams too. You'll notice him eating up double teams, and the only person I thought of. And I think I told the subscribers that I know a lot of them thought I was crazy. I said, man, I'm telling you, this dude is really close to like Aaron Donald. He does not fall on double teams. He knows how to handle the double teams, and he has a ton of moves in his arsenal. But you went and brought up that whole game with Texas. So I just want you to know I'm trying to keep loving you. Don't do this to me.
We've been talking about Gallimore on here forever. I've had him on our team since the end of the season. The guy is underrated. I would love to have him on our team.
Yeah. He reminds me of a little bit more explosive version of K1 Short, which is saying a lot because K1 Short's a pretty damn good player. So I think he would be a pretty good get. Where do you guys pick again? What's your number of pick in the second round?
Number 3? The second round. 35
in the second round.
So 35?
There's a slight chance Gallimore falls there.
I don't think so.
A real slight chance.
That's why we need to trade back and pick an extra late second or late first round pick.
If you trade back, if somebody's jumping up for a quarterback and you dangle that out there, for me, I would dangle it out for the Chargers. Like, best case scenario is you dangle 3 to the Chargers and they go up and get Tua, and like you still somehow miraculously get Okudah at 6 and then still get Gallimore at 2nd in the second round. I mean, you could stop the draft right there and you'd be fine.
Wait, Brett, you think we're taking a cornerback with the first pick?
I mean, you can't really have enough good ones. There's not a whole lot of other fits. It's really between Okudah and Simmons is my best bet at number 3.
I think they still take Simmons, and I can tell you why. I feel like as a defensive coordinator, when you're trying to figure out a way to confuse a person and you don't know if that person is playing safety or a linebacker, and you're trying to have the quarterback identify the people to let his offensive line know and the center's trying to do it, and you don't know who that guy is, he becomes the dream pick for him. And with the cornerback that they have shown a strong habit of letting their young guys get into games. And letting their veterans get in the games. I think they go with that linebacker pick because I think they're going to try to have Jamie Collins be in the middle with Savai and have Simmons at the outside with Ragland, or have Ragland in the middle with Savai and Collins and Simmons at the outside linebackers.
And that was the main thing, is why I wasn't sure if they're going to take Simmons, because they just took Jelani last year. And, they just signed Reggie to kind of play almost like a Dante Hightower type role on early downs. Obviously they have Jamie there who can kind of play any spot on that linebacking core. So I wasn't really sure if they were, if that was kind of like their signal of like, okay, we're going to pass on Simmons because we think we can kind of linebacker by this, by committee this year. I look at that system and how it operated in New England. Is Trufant fine? Yeah, but he's also 30. Is Justin Kollmann fine as a number 2 corner? Yeah, but if you could potentially get an all-pro talent who's young, because remember, Trufant's only got 2 years left on his deal, and again, he's 30. And from what I heard in Atlanta, there was some clashes with coaches, so who knows if he's even going to fit with Patricia's personality anyway.
He better for the contract he signed. He better.
But Okudah played press man 61% of the time at Ohio State, which is basically Stephon Gilmore numbers, and he projects pretty close to being a Stephon Gilmore type player. I think if you're looking for let's build the defense for 1 year, yeah, I guess you could throw Simmons out there and have him be a Sam/safety and never leave that one personnel grouping ever because you don't need to. That could work. But long term, there's going to be a hole at corner anyway. For me, I would roll with Trufant and then either Kollmann or Okudah now. And then eventually you could probably have Okudah and Amani Oruwariye as your 1 and 2. And keep in mind, I was a big fan of Oruwariye last year. I had him graded as a 1st or 2nd round talent.
Same.
We all did. We all did.
So if you're building your secondary for the next 10 years now and just kind of pushing the linebacker problem down the road, just knowing how this system operates, I would probably still go with Okudah regardless of whatever happens with Trufant.
Yeah, I think they go Okudah because of the offseason moves that we made. We traded for Jaron out of the Patriots, as well as we picked up a couple of linebackers and another safety. So I think trading Darius Slay away, this was the idea to get Okudah, Trufant, Amani Oruwariye, who's a stud. Can't believe we got him in the 5th round, and have Kollmann in the slot. I'm with you. I think that's what the move is going to be. And it should be fairly well secondary.
Well, I kind of say Simmons only because I think they in love with Lamar Jackson. I didn't get a chance to be personally there at the practices, but the one that they showed on TV, I noticed that they was always in that vicinity with him, and I was like, okay, and he was getting a lot of reps, and I was like, Okay. I think they love Lamar Jackson. He comes from the Big Ten, which is a school that the Lions have drafted from way too often. But I do get your point. But PD, man, go get the people on track, man. Let's go.
All right.
Well, I'll just say this on Lamar Jackson because I was there and watching him in the bleachers. I think he got a lot of screen time that week because a lot of receivers caught balls against him.
Ouch!
Oh!
Again, I could not see him.
Shut it down.
I just saw what they showed us on the TV.
All right. No, good flow. I like what everyone has to say. Like, this is good perspectives from everybody. But the original question was, aside from the head coach, what is the most important ingredient to the Lions being successful in 2020? Wait up, Brett, did I ask you that question yet, or was that during the
Oh yeah, I think that was just when I said they just have to stop getting injured and throw every 2 seconds because that's their biggest problem to me.
All right, yeah, you're right. You did say that. Jim, Jim, what do you think is the biggest thing that the Lions need to do to be successful in 2020, aside from Matt Patricia?
Brett stole my answer, so I'm going to come up with something new. I think it's the running game and defense.
All right.
I think we need to generate a running game to have Stafford get a little bit more time in the pocket, because when you open up the run game, obviously they can't just pin their ears back and go after Stafford. So with a running game, actually, when we were in the lead most of the time last year, we could have really used a running game at that point. Taking the clock down, all those type of things. And then the defense just couldn't get off the field on third down. So I think those two things, if they were fixed, plus the health issues, I think we'd do fine.
All right, perfect. I love everyone's answers today. Andrew, what is the biggest key to the Lions being successful in 2020 other than Matt Patricia?
Well, I actually have a little bit of a combination of what Brett and Mike said. I mean, obviously you need to stay healthy. If all your stars are getting hurt like last year, you're not going to be able to perform at as high of a level as you can. But my biggest thing is that unless you hit in the draft, you're pretty much complacent with what you got. I'm sick of, it takes 4 years to develop, our second round pick. Our first round pick didn't hit, this, that. Like, I want Pro Bowlers. I want to be like the Ravens. I want to be like the Colts. Like, draft me a couple Pro Bowlers. I want to see immediate impact from this draft. I don't want developmental players. I want them to come out and perform at a dominant level. That's what's going to help us be successful this year.
All right. I like it. My number one thing for the Lions to be successful in 2020, it's so simple. It's not hard, but we've said it ever since Stafford got here. It's just run the damn football. I don't know which one I want. It's run the football, because I think the running game could have lessens the blow of our defense a lot.
Yep.
This year, but that's what my key is. Just run the damn football. That's it.
But you have to run it effectively. We ran it, but we didn't go nowhere.
You're right. All right. I'm going to change it. Well, effectively, be a top 10 rushing offense. And just run the damn football, man. All right, Brett, you got to leave in about 16 minutes, right?
Yeah, about there.
All right, cool. Then we are going to do this real fast. I'm going to allow the people on the panel real fast to ask Brett one question each. Mike, what question do you have for Brett?
Do you believe that the Lions will stay at 3, or in my opinion, I think they'll try to trade back, whether it be Miami or the Chargers, to accumulate more picks? And if we do trade back, what do you think the compensation could be?
Depends on who they trade back with, but I think they will be dangling number 3 out there to a quarterback needy team, whether it's the Dolphins or the Chargers, who I think are kind of both in competition for Tua. I don't believe any of this Herbert, the top 6 stuff. So I think there's 2 teams that need a quarterback, and they're both going to try to get up to 3, because we can pretty much write in pen Burrow and Chase Young back to back. So you guys are kind of the belle of the ball. And if you're trading up to one of those quarterback needy teams and you know they need a quarterback, you can kind of bend them over the fence if you want to. So if you can get an extra 1 out of it in the future, or maybe like a 2 this year and a 4, that would be ideal, because then you could package your 2 this year and that 4 and then move back up in the first round to get a defensive tackle, or just get a, whoever your best player available is. Maybe it's a Christian Fulton, maybe it's a CJ Henderson falls, and you package both 2s to go up into like the late teens, whatever it is. So I think you guys have some flexibility. I do think no matter what, whether it's day 1, day 2, day 3, you are going to come out of this with another corner. It just depends on how satisfied they are with corner right now. I think you are going to come out of this with a defensive tackle. I think you are going to come out of this with a right tackle. And you're probably going to come out of this with another linebacker too. It's really, the interesting thing is just what order they're in. The Lions are kind of a hard team to figure out for me, because I still can't pin down exactly what order those positions are going to be taken in, but I'm pretty sure they're all going to be taken. So for me, just to give them the flexibility to get all of them, I would trade down with probably either the Chargers or the Dolphins, get as much as you can out of it, preferably a future 1, or if not that, a 2 and a 4, or a 2 and a 3 if they're really that desperate. And then just fill all of those depth holes that you have with just the best player that you have on the board out of those positions. Again, not sure what order they're going to attack that in, but I think they're going to come out with all those positions eventually.
Awesome. This is why we brought you on, Brett. You have great insight. I love listening to you talk about football. All right, Luke, you got any question for Brett that you want to ask him?
I mean, I've been saying that the pecking order for the Lions pick are going to be Isaiah Simmons and offensive lineman, and I know a lot of people have been saying, but cornerback and D tackle, I just strongly disagree with it based on the patterns that has been with our general manager. But I guess if I had to ask any question is, who's this player that you just feel like every team should stay away from? Like, based on what you've seen, this player team should be very wary about taking them.
Ooh, that's a good question. Man.
I ain't mean to hurt you like that. My bad.
I think Laviska Chenault's probably going to go a little bit higher than he should, just based on athleticism. Like, I know he got injured at the combine, so people kind of threw that time out there, but I think there's so many other better receivers that are more ready to play. Again, the Lions, I don't think are going to have to worry about that. I think you guys are okay at receiver. Can you add another one if somebody crazy falls? Sure. Like, let's just say you guys trade down multiple times just for giggles. And you go down to 3, and then you go down to 6, and then you go down to the teens or whatever, and you put Henry Ruggs up there with Galladay. Like, that would be fun, but is it a desperate need? Nah, to me, probably not. But I think Chenault's probably going to get a little bit overdrafted. I do want to ask you, though, because you did disagree on defensive tackle. So I'm looking at the roster. You got Shelton, who I think is locked in at the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you just lost Ashawn.
Okay.
So the only other ones you've got are probably Atkins. You took Austin Bryant, who's kind of a Trey Flowers type tweener, where like maybe he'll kick inside. You still have Deshaun Hand, who I think is really at least, again, more of like a tweener, but would probably do a lot of work inside on third down as a pass rusher. But I don't really see like a true like kick-ass take names like Akeem Hicks type that you can leave at 3 technique all day, or play 1 technique on third down if you want to rotate Danny out and get somebody in at like a cock nose that's better in that role on third down, like say Neville Gill, or like you have a lot of Robins, but I don't really see a Batman.
Facts.
Yeah, I think the reason you don't see that is because the pattern does not yield that, and when the pattern don't yield that, that's what I go by. So what I do is I pay attention to the patterns and the trends. I looked at a number of the Patriots rosters. They don't carry a lot of big name D tackles. They just want 1 or 2 guys who can clog the middle. They bring all the pressure from the linebackers and from those D ends, and they move those D ends in and out. And they live in that nickel package where a lot of times they'll rotate that Deshaun Hand, that Trey Flowers inside, and rush maybe another D end from a 2-point stance out. So when I looked at it, the D tackle didn't rank that high. in terms of that first round. I felt like they feel the same way I feel, that they can get somebody later, and not have to worry about it. Danny Shelton will take up space and plug holes. That's all they're looking for, to free up the linebackers. And to me, I don't think they're looking for their Batman right there. They're looking for their Batman in their linebacking core. And so who that's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to start off with either Isaiah Simmons, but particularly Jamie Collins. He's supposed to be the one to bridge the gap of communication with these players, to let them know that, yeah, it seems hard, but it's for the betterment. So to me, the D tackle position is not that high rated and not based on what they have done over the years.
Okay, that's a totally valid take. 100%.
Appreciate
All right.
Appreciate it.
Like system wise, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Right. Andrew, do you have any question for Brett?
Yeah, so I pretty much am wondering, what do you think is our biggest need, and how do you think we'll address it? And that could be, player, that could be scheme, game plan, coaching, whatever you think.
So biggest need in the future, again, just because of age and contract issues and positional value, I would still probably point to corner, because that's going to be a problem no matter what. Biggest need right now, again, if we're talking about a potential trade down scenario with one of those quarterback needy teams where you're still in the top 6 picks and you could still get a Pro Bowl or all pro caliber player that can help you immediately, probably right tackle. To me, I'd really like to have Jedrick Wills as my starting right tackle for the next 10 years and not, say, I don't know, Dan Skipper.
Okay.
All right. Jim,
We better not say no Dan Skipper. It's like every time I love Brett, he bring up a name that just sets me. I'm like, Dan Skipper. Oh God.
It's either that or you want to kick Odeabushi back out there.
Man, God. And you know what's funny when you say that? I know a lot of times my subscribers think I'm crazy because I say stuff. They be like, it don't make sense, but I'm like, the offensive tackle makes sense. No, it doesn't, but it does. And I'm telling you, because our guards suck. And the people like Dan Skipper or Bucci or Joe Dowell but we cool. I still love you, Brett. We still good. We still good, bro. We good.
Keep in mind, I'm operating under the assumption that Vaitai plays guard and not tackle.
But see, this is funny though. I had that same assumption too. When we picked him up, I said, hey, if he's playing guard, great. If he's not, I gotta watch more film, because all the film I watched, I thought he did okay as a guard, as a tackle, but I felt like you can kind of service him because he's not the most athletic person. And to me, a tackle got to have some kind of athleticism to him. I thought he would be better served as a guard. I'm hoping they make him a guard.
For everybody that's in the stream right now, so I did a film study on 2 right tackle prospects that the Lions probably will be considering, in Tristan Wirfs and Jedrick Wills. To me, Jedrick Wills is the best tackle in this class, and it's not close. Out of all the great tackles, or out of all the great players in that Alabama offense, Tua and Ruggs and Judy and all, Devontae Smith, they have 4 first-round receivers and a first-round quarterback. Jedrick Wills was still the best player on that offense. So I did a film study on them, and you can go watch that and just see how really incredible he is. And then tell me that you want Vaitai playing tackle for a quarterback who's getting up there in years and already has an injury history. Tell me you want Vaitai to play right tackle for you instead of Jedrick Wills.
See what I'm saying? And now I'm back in love with you. Just that simple, that quick. This the kind of love-hate thing we got going on here. Is what I appreciate, because I think you're right.
What do you think of Case Young if he was to fall for the Lions? Would he be a good fit for us?
That was my question.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks.
Let's ask it. Go ahead.
Give me any defense of the last 15 years, and Chase Young's a good fit for it. I mean, he's the best pass rusher I've ever evaluated. If him and Myles Garrett coming out of Texas A&M, and Jadeveon Clowney coming out of South Carolina, and Khalil Mack coming out of Buffalo, and Bradley Chubb coming out of NC State, if they were all in the same class, I'd still take Chase Young.
Wow, that's bold.
So I'll just say this: he's not gonna be there.
I hope he's not. And as a Lions fan, I've said this before. I hate his motor. I pay attention to the little small. I hate his motor. I've seen him literally take plays off like we run a 83 game NBA season or something. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm still trying to figure out what happened in the Michigan game. And when I watched the film on it, I did not like what I saw out of Chase Young. Like I felt like he doesn't always give 100% effort. And I don't see how he fits in because I don't like his ability as a rusher from the 2-point stance as much as I like it with his hand in the dirt. Like to me, in the 2-point stance, he looks like Jadeveon Clowney when he was on the Texans, like a fish out of water trying to rush off the edge versus his hand being in the dirt.
He's still trying to figure it out for sure, but for me, if I'm putting him in Detroit scheme specifically, his hand's going to be in the dirt anyway. I know they like to have those big kind of hybrid guys. Traditionally in that system, they'll have like these elephants that are like 270, 275 pounds. But for me, I would basically just play him like a Leo and just have him in a 3 or 4 point stance all day and say, go hunt. That's how I would use him.
Okay. All
right. Well, I have a question.
All right.
Go ahead, Jim. The running back situation in Detroit. Do you think we take a running back, and if so, how high?
Ooh. So this one's emotional for me because I love Kerryon Johnson more than life itself.
JMO would love you.
I adore Kerryon Johnson, but unfortunately, you have to limit his workload to keep him healthy. As I said at the top of the show, health is a big thing for them. So, ironically, I just put out an episode on him just a couple of days ago, Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU. You watch any LSU game last year or any defensive player playing against LSU last year, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire will inevitably steal your attention for the rest of the tape. He has special lateral agility. I mean, truly special. Not quite Barry, but not that far away.
Wow.
He's 5'7", 207, so he's just a small bowling ball type back, but he has a 40-inch vertical, and it shows up. His stop-start is incredible. His looseness in his hips is incredible. I mean, he has all these spin moves in the backfield where I don't know how the hell he saw these guys coming free off the edge, and he still gets out of it. It is special elusiveness. His one thing is he doesn't have the long speed like, say, a Barry Sanders who was built similarly and had the same kind of agility. He does not have Barry's long speed, not even close. But he's an excellent receiver. He has excellent vision. Again, stop-start agility is top tier. He played both the Camaro role and the Mark Ingram role in that LSU offense last year because remember they used the Saints offense, and he played both of those roles, and he did so at a top-tier level.
Wow.
So he's not going to go in the first round. He might not even go in the second round because, again, a 5'7" running back that runs 4.6 flat usually doesn't go in the top 64 picks. But at the top of the third, where the Lions are picking, you put him with Kerryon, and you give him 15 touches a game, and you give Kerryon 12 just to get the most you can out of him. And that is a truly frighteningly talented running back duo. And plus, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is an excellent third down back, so you can kind of take that workload off Kerryon's shoulders as well. I mean, God, I can't imagine a better third round value for them than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, Brett, I know you got to probably head out now, so thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. I loved listening to every single one of your takes. I love your preparedness, and it was great having you on. Do you have anything final to say to the chat? Actually, before I let you go, if you like football, then you should go subscribe to Brett because he is football. But Brett, do you have anything final words to say to the chat?
Man, I have an interesting relationship with Lions fans because you guys have been through a lot. But
Talk to him, Brett.
Lions fans are unique because it is such a wholesome combination of hopefulness and anger, but then back to hopefulness again. And then this dejected, oh my God, we're never going to get past the Packers. And then you get past the Packers and the Vikings are good. And then you get past the Vikings and the Bears are good. So you guys are always in this bridesmaids kind of status. And how you guys still hold it together after all these years is absolutely remarkable to me. And I have a very special relationship with Lions fans whenever I release a video on the Lions, because if I'm positive, you guys love it. And if I'm negative, most fan bases just absolutely tear me to pieces. But Lions fans are like this very interesting, like they're very like self-reflective. We're like, yeah, you're probably right. It's a very special fan base to me, and I love Lions fans for that.
Hey, listen, we appreciate you for coming on. We appreciate you for, putting your services out there in the community, and taking the time to come and do this with us. Hopefully we can get you back on at some other time, or, maybe do one-on-one with one of us. I love talking X's and O's, and it seems like we agree on a lot of things and disagree at the same time. So that would be cool too. But just again, talking football is one thing. Would you offer to do in that video, and simply just going out to get groceries or items for people, it's the real thing we should talk about. And again, I can't say it enough at how much I appreciate that, and I respect you so much for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Good luck with or have fun with whatever you're about to do, and good luck. And thanks again for coming on.
Thanks, Brett.
Boys.
Thanks,
Talk
man.
to you later.
All right. That was lots of fun, actually.
Yeah, it was.
It was real fun, man.
It was good.
Fun. I feel a little validated.
All right. But yeah, this is a question that I think we should talk about this real fast. What is the right balance between being a negative fan, a realistic fan, and a hopeful fan? Because we have a mix of every single one of them on here, on pretty much the extreme end of the spectrum. Jim, I want to start off with you, because you were talking about this off screen.
Sure.
Yeah, what's a good balance between being a hopeful fan, a realistic fan, and a negative fan?
Well, I don't know. I'm just going to speak from my own experience, and I look at I call it like I see it. And I don't think it's negative or positive. I think it's reality. And that's hard for some people, because some people take that as negative. If they want to take it as negative, that's fine. But, if I don't see it, I don't see it. And I'm not going to just say I do. I won't do that, because I think in certain aspects, I think that's just a lie, and I don't like that. I'll be honest. I just don't. If I don't believe in the coach, I don't believe in the coach. I have my reasons why I don't. I can back up my argument, but I don't really want to argue about it, because we're all wanting one thing. We all want to win. I don't think there's anybody that's a Lions fan that doesn't want a winner here. But to feel
that's where I disagree. I feel there's some Lions fans feels like they want their team to lose, but
no. No, if this team went out and they made some really, really good moves and some good splashes and stuff like that, I would probably be a lot different than the way I feel right now. And the coach was doing really well, and we signed somebody who knew what they were doing, and somebody that didn't miss on a lot of draft picks and stuff like that, as we've had in the past. Do you know what I mean? I'm 50 years old, so I've seen a lot of Lions in my life. We've never won the North. We've won the Central, but we've never won the North. We've never even been to a Super Bowl. We've been in one NFC championship game, which we got pummeled in. I don't want to be negative. I want to win. I want a winner here, but if I don't see it, I don't see it right now. That doesn't mean it can't happen. That doesn't mean this can't just turn around and we have a wonderful season. I don't see that right now. Does that make me negative? No, it just makes, that's what I believe.
Well, that's a fair answer. That really is a very fair answer. All right, Mike, what is the balance between, or what should be the balance between being negative, realistic, and hopeful?
You got to curb your bias as much as humanly possible. We all have bias. We're all Lions fans. We want the Lions to win. And sometimes you just got to step out of the shoes and look at objectively. If you are like the media, and the media hates a specific individual, no matter what that individual does, it's always going to be bad. But if you step out of the shoes and just look at objectively, like, okay, there is positive things that can be done. There is negative things that can be done. When it comes to, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, yes, he is a good chance he could fail. Yes, there's a good chance he could succeed. We just got to step out and look at it objectively and say, okay, one step at a time, because if we just assume everything he does is bad, then no matter what he can do, it's a failure. It doesn't matter. He literally could cure cancer and it would be bad. So I think as Lions fans, we've been down so damn much, always down because our team is sucked for so long, and it's hard to see success. And we don't want to think that they're going to be great and be let down like it happened last year. Thought they'd actually go to the playoffs, then went 3-12-1. So it's a difficult situation when it comes to us as individuals talking about the Detroit Lions. Just enjoy it for what it is. When we get a win, be happy we get a win. When we lose, be pissed off, because that's the fun of the game. If, like last year, we didn't win that much. When we did win, I was happy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy because I knew when we were going to lose a lot when it wasn't going well after week 1. And there's going to be a lot of pissed off days. I lost a lot of hairline that year, but I enjoyed the wins when we had it.
All right. I'll toss the one over to you, Andrew. What is the balance between what is the right balance between being negative, realistic, and hopeful?
I mean, honestly, the balance should be you should be optimistic at the start of each season. Unless something terrible happened, your whole team got hurt in training camp or something, you should be optimistic. It's a new season. Everyone has a 0-0 record, so until things start going downhill, there's no reason to just jump off the ship. I went to a couple games this year. I went to the home opener against the Chargers, and I cannot tell you how many fans were already booing and saying the season was over and just being completely negative, and we ended up winning the game. Like it's heartbreaking to see Lions fans and fans in general attend the games and just be so negative. Like the balance is so skewed right now, and I think that people need to start being positive, because teams like Seattle, Kansas City, they have that fan presence, and that fan presence makes such a big impact. And so I think until things are actually over, the season is guaranteed you're not making playoffs, there's no reason to be negative. You can be crucial of, if coaching was bad or this player played like crap, but don't just completely say the season's over and our team is crap and everything. Like, you have to have that balance of optimistic and a realistic fan.
Okay. I like all these answers a lot. Luke, what is a good balance between being negative, realistic, and hopeful?
To me, the good balance is being truthfully objective. See, people can be objective, but you got to be truthfully objective. For example, are you being negative if you have children and your children bring home bad grades and you're telling them, hey, I don't like that you're bringing home bad grades. We need to figure out a way to fix this and you can work harder. Are you being negative, or are you being objectively truthful about something? See, to me, we have to be able to be objectively truthful. Hopeful is when you're seeing things happen that you can objectively, truthfully say, oh, that's a good move, or hey, that's better than what we had last year, or hey, this got to work because what we had didn't work previously. That's objectively truthful. And I think what happens a lot of time with our fan base is we either up or we're down. If we hate somebody, we hate them. It is what it is. And the hardest part is for us to remove our emotions out of it and just be truthfully objective about what we see. Not negative, but truthfully objective. And that's being able to say the truth about your team. If your team is not doing something that you agree with, it sucks. And as Rachel said, sometimes the truth hurts, but that's the reality of it.
Yep.
And the truth has to be objective enough for you to say, yeah, I know that these things happen, but you don't get those same type of excuses or arguments from other fan bases when those things happen. They just simply say, yep, this is what happened. And we can truthfully and respectfully and objectively say that's what happened, and it should be okay. So that's how you find that balance, in my opinion.
One thing also is that the more you know about football, the more you can accurately judge what's going to happen.
Oh, talk to the people. Talk to the people, Jim.
To be honest, so last year I did not have them going to the playoffs. So I didn't. But, that's what I saw. That's not negative. That's what you look at when you look at this team and say, okay, what do you think is going to happen in this situation? You don't know. I didn't know about all the injuries either. I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. That's the way I thought. This year, we got an extra playoff spot. You know what? We possibly could make the playoffs this year, even though I don't think we have a better team per se, but I think we have a better chance just because we have an extra playoff spot. The situations change.
And the situation does change. And I think what else is the factor is we don't know how much of the Darius Slay type players of disruption was taking place in the locker room. It very well could have been a lot worse than we expect, or it could have been a non-issue. We don't know. Sometimes you can understand how the season's going to go. I ain't going to lie, man. When Matt Stafford went down, I knew exactly how the season was going to go.
But then are you being negative, Mike, or are you just seeing what you see?
I said, well, shit. I said, where?
Is that a direct quote from every Lions fan?
I think it is.
No. I was the only one that said when Stafford went down, I said, we're going to be a top 5 draft pick, folks. Get ready for we're not winning another game this year. And I took a little bit of heat for it, but God dang it.
And see, that's what happens, Mike, when you see something like that and you're just telling the truth. You're not sitting there being negative. You're just saying, okay, it is what it is right now,
But then on a positive side, Stafford's healthy. He could go back up to his MVP level. And who the hell knows? Maybe we're a lot better than we assume we are.
Maybe we hit on the draft and we get some studs to fill in some of these holes and we still make a few moves afterwards. And, we don't know what we don't know. I agree with that.
And the fact of the matter is, let me say this really quick, Mike. All of us want a winner. We all want a winner. Luke wants a winner. Jim wants a winner. We want to win. Yes. Luke tells me every single day. I hope I'm wrong, Mike. Every single damn day. He is the biggest Lions. We spend all day talking about Detroit Lions, a team that went 3-12-1. So when you hear a Luke or a Jim, you believe they're being negative. Trust me, I'm going to tell you right now, I listen to this guy every single day, and all we want is a winner. That's all we want. And Luke wants a winner like I haven't seen, and Jim is 50 years old. He wants a winner, guys. We all want to win.
Right. Win one before I die. Go ahead, Luke.
I'll tell you like this too. The biggest thing that lets me know the negative fans or how they need to be balanced is when we have over 70 people that was in this chat and only got 43 likes. Let's get those likes up, people. You heard Brett say it himself. This fan base either might be drunk, high, or crazy. Either way it go, it's the most interesting fan base he ever had to deal with. Let's get those likes up. We got 43 likes. We had 1.70 people in the entire chat. Let's get those likes up. If we got 43, get me as close to 50 as possible.
That's right.
I would love that. And again, be objective about it. If you hate me, don't hate me. Well, I take that back. Hate me, but love PD and get them likes up. Exactly. Let's get that thing to 50. We got 54 in here. We have 46 right now. Can I get 47? Can I get a 47? 47 going once, 47 going twice. Throw it on the 47 right there. Let's keep it going, people. PD, floor is yours, man.
All right. Rachel says winning heals all. That's for sure, Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel, we need to get you on here, man. So we loved having you on Tuesday.
Yes.
Killed it.
Definitely.
All right. I like what everyone said. I really do like what everyone said. No, but why do we have to, why don't we, I don't know, I looked at the signings, Luke. You were about them. And
so am I.
I don't know. We looked at what is going on and interpreted it completely differently. So it's I don't know.
Well, see, that's what's good about the DSA. PD, myself, and maybe Real. I'm not sure about Andrew. We were a little more positive about the signings. It wasn't but I'm a little more positive on it.
Man, you heard me talk about it earlier. I'm hella positive about it. I'm probably the most positive about the signings than everyone in the DSA.
But But that's
Probably,
good
yeah.
because then we
Makes sense.
have another part of the DSA that's not like that. That's a balance.
Mhm.
It's a balance. We keep each other in check because if we all agreed that it was the greatest signing of all time, what happened last year is going to happen again this year, and we don't want that to happen again.
We don't.
Yeah, for sure. No, but
let me be clear. The reason I am mad on the signings is because I have to be honest and say, like Jim, I don't believe in the coach. So we could have signed Aaron Donald, Peyton Manning, we could have signed Terrell Lawrence and Randy Moss. If I don't believe in the person who's leading them down that tunnel,
bro,
it doesn't matter.
Patricia couldn't even handle Darius Slay. What makes you think he's going to be able to handle that many matches?
I'm just saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's how my confidence is with this coach. But that's why I say I pray that I'm wrong because I want to eat crow. I want to be wrong. I want him to prove me wrong and show me that I'm out of my mind. I want the sub to come in here and give me hell for being wrong.
And
I want all that smoke.
I'm known as the positive guy on here, but when the Lions game's going on, when I'm going back and forth with Luke, I can see this game's not going well. He's like, it can still happen. It can still happen.
Yep.
I'm like, bro, do you not see the writing on the wall? So trust me, he's not negative, man. He's the complete opposite. I'm watching the game. I said, look, Luke, this ain't going to be good. No, we got this. No, we got this.
Yeah,
we can get a touchdown, onside kick, touchdown. Yeah. I said, Luke, it's not happening, bro.
I remember one day. I remember one day we was watching. I think it was the Minnesota game, and I was like, "Nope, all we need is this." And he was like, "Luke, I don't know what you want, but I need someone because I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen." I said, "It's not." No, when he told me we're gonna get a top 5 pick, I said, "You crazy? We can't be that bad." I was like, "Jesus." Yeah. I was like, "Jesus, I want to win so bad."
Me and Real were talking about that, and he was like, "The season's done by I think it was week 7 or something." And I'm like, "Give it a week or two, let's see what happens." And then we lost the next week, and then Stafford went down. I'm like, "All right, now this season is over." I was like, "We're 100% tanking." I was like, "There's no way we're gonna win a game. I don't care if it's the Redskins. We could have easily beat the Redskins. I guarantee you." That when they saw what happened with our team and everything, that they 100% tanked and didn't allow our team to win.
Yeah, look, even Jay White says, "Luke, you don't want to be wrong." Then you ain't been listening. You ain't been listening because not only do I want to be wrong, I want to win. I want to be wrong and I want to win. And it's a difference between wanting to be something and looking at it and saying, "I don't think I am going to be that." I want it to be wrong, and I wanted to make sure that I'm wrong. But a lot of the times, look, I met J-Mo. It's kind of funny because all this started, I met J-Mo and a lot of these people all because I came out with a video saying that the Detroit Lions is going to take a tight end. And I got my ass handed to me. "Oh, you crazy. You don't know nothing about no football. How you got a YouTube channel?" And I'm like, okay, I just follow patterns.
Killed for it too, man.
Yeah, I got killed for it. And then they took a tight end, and everybody went, "You was lucky." I'm like, okay. I said, "We're taking a linebacker in the second round." I said this. I said, "We're taking a linebacker in the second round based on what the trend has been." We took a linebacker. They was like, oh, I think the first one I got wrong was I thought we was going to go running back in third, and we ended up going with Will Harris. I believe that's what it was. That's the first one I got wrong. And I was like, okay, cool. But I don't like the pick because I didn't like Will Harris. So
I hated that.
I did my mock draft last year. I got a lot of hell for it, but I got 3 picks right. And I did my mock draft this year, and I'm getting hell for it. And I'm like, look, man, this is just what I see them doing. Hopefully I can get 4 picks right this time. I got 3 last time. Hopefully I can get 4. That'd be a nice little record to get.
Snow's OG said, we're going to select an offensive tackle. And I think people are really sleeping on us taking a tackle in the first.
No,
I don't believe it.
I honestly, I don't know why people are just oblivious to the fact that our biggest need right now is 100% offensive tackle. You look at the O-line. Our O-line is mediocre. But look here, Mike. How many times has a tackle gone in the top 3 in recent years?
There's too many quality tackles to take one at 3. If you're going to take one, they best trade back. If they take a tackle at 3, I'm going to seriously put my head into a wall and scream at Luke.
Here's the problem, though.
Screaming
Mike.
at him for he did this to me.
There's been tackles taken first overall. Do you think I wanted Hawkinson at 8? Hell no. I don't want a tight end at 8.
I didn't mind it, though.
Offensive tackle in the first round, you can't be mad, dude, especially with what's going on with our offensive line. There's a glaring need at tackle.
There's a glaring need on our defense because it was so bad. The reason we lost is that we couldn't stop a leaking faucet. Like, it was so bad. I just want to see this defense not be trash. Because
I agree,
we could have won so many more games if we simply had a decent defense. And I'm not even talking no top 10. I'm talking, maybe a 22 defense.
I agree,
That's
but
bad when you win for a 22 ranked defense.
Yeah,
I agree, but when you look at what the Lions want to do, they want to manage the clock and they want to try and handle games. And our offensive line was not capable of managing clock with being able to run the ball effectively.
No push.
Yeah, exactly. And Stafford was getting hit a lot, So like, what happens if you have the number 1 defense and Stafford goes down again? Do you really think you can contend? No.
Yeah,
so you have no chance whatsoever.
Our offense was actually 10th ranked offense even after Stafford going down, but our defense was just so god awful that we could not. We have to get help on this defense.
I agree, but part of that offensive,
we can get a guard in the second round. We can get a tackle in the second round or late first round. We need to get an instant blue chip player on this defense to bring the Ndamukong Suh effect, where we change this defense.
Mike, I have told you before, I believe that they want Isaiah Simmons 1. If he is not there, I told you that the 3 positions you should look at are offensive tackle. They'll go there first. If Simmons is gone, he'll be the tackle or offensive line will be the top pick. I said, and then you'll have the pass rush, but realistically, the running back will then be the next highest one up.
No, they need to take a playmaking defensive player, and not just at the 3 pick, but if we trade back to 5 or 6, that's what we need to do.
I agree, Mike. I mean, I already came out with my mock draft for the first 5 rounds, and my first 3 picks were all on the defensive side of the ball. But when you look at the recent years where the top tackle has gone, and you look at our needs, and you mentioned we were a top 10 offense without Stafford. Yeah, but that's because we constantly had to try and score because we were down. Yes, we were in the game, but we had to put up points, so we were more aggressive. Do I believe we could have put up more points if we were more aggressive with Stafford? Hell yeah. We probably could have been a top 3 offense if we actually were aggressive with the ball when we have Stafford. Just like in all our 2-minute drills, we score with ease almost every single time. But if you don't have protection, you don't have that push on the offensive line, you can't control the game. So then your defense is on the field nonstop. And even if you have a top defense, they're going to get tired. And that's what happened. Everyone was saying, well, Snacks was on the field for too much. Yeah, because our defense was on the field nonstop because we couldn't control anything offensively.
Because we couldn't stop anything offensively.
All right. Hey, guys, let's move on. Let's move on real fast. Let's do 2 more questions, then we're going to go to the chat.
All right.
Give us one reason to have hope for this upcoming season. Just one. Jim, we're starting with you. Actually, you know what? I'll let Mike go first. I'm sure.
I'll go. Let Jim go first.
Let me go first.
Yeah, go.
Well, one thing I have hope for: we were in every game last year. We were leading most of the games last year. If Stafford's healthy, we win a lot more games, and we have an extra playoff spot this year. I think we can go to the playoffs this year because of the fact if we can stay healthy, Stafford can stay healthy. Patricia has his guys in here now. Let's hope everything gels. But I just think that we were close. We're not really that far off. So I think that, we could make the playoffs, and that's hoping.
All right, Mike, one reason for hope.
The NFL draft, folks. We got some damn good picks in this draft, and I think we're going to get more. We have a chance to get a blue chip player, immediate impact player on this defense in the first round of this draft. That will be huge. If we can get any sort of pressure or get a player like a Simmons who Luke wants, or a player that can somewhat just make turnovers, make plays that we haven't seen since Ndamukong Suh. If we can get that on defense, folks, we can win. We have good players. We can finally get impact players for this team. We got that first pick, 3 overall. That's a damn good player you're going to get there. We have high second round pick. That's a damn good player you can get there. We got 2 third-round picks. Those are good quality players you can get there. We draft well this year and complement to the pieces we got in this offseason. Stafford say upright. Folks, we were in every game last year, and we can win football games, and we can make the postseason.
All right, Andrew, give us one reason to have hope for this upcoming season.
Honestly, mine comes with the amount of turnover we had on the defensive side of things. You know, when you look at how we performed last year, people are mad. Oh, you got rid of Snacks, you got rid of Slay, you got rid of Diggs. But we were a piss poor defense. So with the amount of turnover, at the very least, you know, there's not really room to go down. So I see us moving up with all that turnover on the defensive side of the ball.
Perfect. Luke, give us one reason to have hope. One objective, truthful reason to have hope for the
No, I think you did there, PD. I got you. No, but truthfully, hindsight is 2020. And to me, when I see Matt Patricia realizing that his side of the ball stinks, and as Andrew alluded to, he said, I'm going to rehaul this entire thing because it stinks and I don't like the way it stinks. It's very hard for us to throw out things that we hold sentimentally valuable to us or things that we feel like we're doing right and it could be wrong. The one thing for me is the fact that I'm seeing a coach who is acknowledging that he failed in an area big time and is doing everything in his power to get that part fixed.
I love it. All right. Now, this is going to be hard for some of you, but we're going to try. Say one nice thing about Matt Patricia. Andrew, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to touch off what Luke just said. You know, he's addressed the glaring holes. Are they fantastic signings? No. Are they, you know, the biggest splashes that they could have been? No. But it's the fact that he acknowledged that we had a serious problem on defense and went out and grabbed a crap ton of players and pretty much rehauled the entire defense besides, you know, Walker, Tavai, a couple of our guys that are young and talented and have a lot of promise.
Perfect. Luke, you kind of already alluded to one, but say one nice thing about Matt Patricia.
I'll wait.
He got a phenomenal. No. I mean, it's not. I mean, listen. I'm always going to be for a person who can see a flaw in themselves and improve upon themselves. The one nice thing I would say about him is he's got a nice beard. No, I mean seriously though. I think, like I said, to me, being able to recognize your flaws and change that's huge. Self-awareness is everything. So I like the fact that he's now self-aware.
Beautiful. Mike, say one nice thing about Matt Patricia.
I'm going to go and read between the lines of what Darius Slay said. He said year 1, he was an ass. Year two, he let up and changes were made. I think if you can acknowledge that you screwed up and you made wrong choices and try to move on from that shows a good quality and individual I like to be around. Nobody is perfect. We've all made big time mistakes in our life. And if he can build upon that and move forward and adjust from his mistakes, then that's a pretty good quality.
Beautiful. Jim.
Okay.
Say one nice thing about Matt Patricia.
He saves the Lions money. And here's why. Because at the Christmas party, they don't have to hire another Santa Claus.
Oh,
Kidding.
I thought you were going to say
I'm not messing with Jim.
KFC.
I'm not messing with Jim. I'm not messing with Jim.
Oh my God.
I had to do it, man.
I know. I feel you. All right.
He's got a lot of pencils if you need one.
Yeah. He comes prepared.
He knows the word standpoint.
He's
All right. I think
Y'all are real petty right now. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. y'all real petty though.
here's my nice thing about Matt Patricia. He had his team prepared to go and back-to-back Week 17s. In 2018, we were gutter trash. Matt Patricia had his team ready to go, and we shut the Packers out in Lambeau Field. My least favorite team in my least favorite place. Then Week 17, 2019, a 3-11-1 team without their starting quarterback and without lots of players versus a 12-3 team. And it took the Packers all 60 minutes to defeat us. He had his team ready. He can get his team ready. All right. It's your guys' turn now. Ask any questions you like, whether it be about football or anything. And it can be directed towards anyone.
Absolutely.
And before you
shout out for the 53 likes. We got one down. Thank you. That still counts. So we got 55 people in here. Can we hit 55?
Also, with that said, folks, PD dropped a video, his last video besides this. It is extremely well done, thought out, and accurate with facts. You must watch this video once you're done with this stream. I seen it. It's one of the best videos I've seen so far this offseason regarding the Detroit Lions. Make sure you jump on that video when you're done with this stream. It's going to be quality content, and it blew my mind away. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, it was a good video. Make sure you check that out. I checked that out too. I thought it was really well thought out. He brings really good content. Subscribe to his channel.
All right. I guess
Gerald 313's got a question.
Oh, he's got the question. Yeah, I'm sorry, buffed up, but Luke, what do you think about Kollmann Chasen? He seems perfect to fill that stand-up edge rusher role the Lions sorely lack.
I think we can do better. I do. I think we can do better. When I watched the film on him, I walked away with the attitude of we could do so much better than him to get a stand-up edge guy. You know, so as much as I don't like Chase Young's stand-up ability to rush the passer, I would take it over his.
All right. Who PV? I assume you mean who PD? I'm a DSA member, just like everybody else on the panel is, and I am a Lions fan, just like everyone else on the panel is. But
we do have a question. PC Payload earlier said, if there's one more player in free agency that you would take, who would it be and why? And I'll start off just because I saw this question. I want Eli Apple. Okay. This is someone that has not been on anyone's radar. I think he has a lot of talent. I think with the right scheme and the right fit, we could definitely utilize his skills. I mean, the dude
he was going to go to the Raiders, and that just fell through. It just
exactly. I just saw that. So I would love to bring Eli Apple in. That way, I know for a fact we won't go out and grab a CUDA in the first round, which would make me happy. So what do you guys think?
I think Eli Apple would be like having a CUDA in the first year because it's going to be a learning curve. Eli Apple to me has not been consistent for some reason. I don't know what the hell is going on with Eli Apple. For me, I've said it before. The one guy that I would look for them to take would be Marcus Golden, because that guarantees get Christian Jones out of here. I think right now Christian Jones is surviving by the hair of his chinny chin chin.
I agree with that.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
I actually thought when we got the linebackers we got in free agency, I thought he should have been gone. Christian Jones. I don't know why he's still here.
I don't know why he's still here.
All right. If Burrow doesn't go 1 or 2, do the Lions pick him at 3?
Oh, they better. If something like
should.
that occurs, you have to. But that dude's going number 1.
But I tell you what, we could hold somebody up for some draft capital if that happened.
Oh my God! Yeah, we would be getting a whole freaking draft.
I mean, if you're not thinking of taking him, which I would, but I mean, if you look at the other side of it, I think we could get a lot for him.
As much as it pains me for how that would impact our season coming up, I would love that for the future. And for him to be able to sit behind Stafford, oh my God.
But would he sit behind Stafford?
I don't think he would need to, man. I think, he would be a great addition. But, congrats to the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to get their franchise quarterback here in 3 weeks.
What do you think about that, Luke? Would you do that?
I'm sorry. I'm technically y'all still at work, and I got a call. So repeat that question
about Burrow falling to 3. Would you take him, or would you trade and hold people up for a ransom?
Again, if nobody's willing to give me the deal that I want, I'm pulling the ransom card. I'm just gonna go here. If you love him, we gonna see how much you love him. Come talk to me if you love him that much. Otherwise, he gonna be here.
Yep.
I'd take him. Be a great
Personally, I would take him.
Yeah, I would too.
All right.
That would be legit.
All right, next question. My question, will the draft happen as planned?
Yes.
Yes. Let me tell you why. The draft will happen because unlike other sporting events and stuff like that, what makes the draft special is for you to see the guy come up, hold your jersey, you get all excited, y'all celebrate, woo, you get drunk, liquor is flowing. But in this case, before this, the draft was always held in the peace and quiet of people's homes. Mm-hmm. They called you on the phone, hey, we're selecting you. Get here by this day. So they'll continue that, and the way they'll cover it is they'll still cover it on TV with people commenting and talking about it, and they'll still announce the picks. They're just going to show you a whole bunch of goddamn highlights, unlike they've been doing recently, where the guy come out, he's back there on the phone talking to mom and dad, and they're going to cut all that out. It's going to be a whole lot of highlights, and they'll probably have a camera at a few places that's already pre-set up where they can show you celebrating. So, yes, it's still happening.
So you won't miss Todd.
I think it's better that way, to be honest.
I agree.
I know. What positions did you guys play when you all played ball? I played D-line and tight end.
I did not.
I played linebacker and defensive line. Well, particularly defensive end. I played D tackle too because I was pretty aggressive. But I played linebacker mostly.
Honestly,
wide receiver.
Honestly, unless you played in college, it's kind of like I don't know.
When in college, I was strictly linebacker. They didn't want me playing a DN spot. They wanted me to man the middle linebacker position, and because I hated outside linebacker because I was like, I like running. I like having space to run when I play. And when you play outside, you got like somebody run opposite me. I hated running all the way across the field to get them. If I was in the middle, I knew I could break the field down in half. Like, okay, from here to here, you effed up. From here to here, you effed up. I'm good. You put me on one side, and I got to catch you all the way across. You have just made yourself a simple touchdown because I'm not chasing you.
I always enjoyed being the prick who gets the first down and shows off and really piss off the defender or the defender I'm going against.
All right. If Patricia fails this year, does Quinn go as well?
No.
Yes.
Oh, really? Why, Andrew?
Dude, it's hard to say because, yes, we haven't had the greatest record, but Quinn has made way better moves than our past GMs. I mean, he's actually making moves for one. He's bringing in the right positions. Have they always panned out? No. But he's brought in some good players, like every person he's brought in for the most part I've been happy about. When he brought TJ Lang, I was like, all right, for sure. He was a beast for the Packers. He brought in Rick Wagner. I was like, heck yeah, he was a beast for the Ravens. Marvin Jones, I was like, Marvin Jones turned out fine. He's brought it, the snacks trade. He's done a lot, and he's done a lot that has worked. Has it worked out long term? Not necessarily, but he's making those moves, and he's an aggressive GM, I feel like. So I don't think if we have a bad season that he'll go under with Matt Patricia.
While I do understand that these two are going to always be joined at the hip, I agree with you, Andrew. He should not be fired if Patricia failed. People forget. They always talk about how great Ozzie Newsome was as a GM for the Ravens. Go back and look at his drafts and his acquisitions through free agency. They were horrible. Okay, he had a rough start. He hit on a few, and he lucked up on a bunch of them. But let's be honest, what saved him was being able to find the people like an Ed Reed, being able to say, forget that court case, I'm taking a Ray Lewis, being able to say, hey, bringing in a Tony Siragusa makes a difference, bringing in a Sam Adams makes a difference, a Terrell Suggs makes it. He was able to get into his craft. And when I look at Bob Quinn has done the same thing. So in my opinion, the only way for Bob Quinn not to get fired, for him not to get fired, he's going to have to fire his buddy if it doesn't work out. Now, if he's refusing to fire his buddy, then you can go with him.
Yeah, he's got to go, in my opinion. It would have to be a total restart because Matt Stafford would be, 33 years next year. He brought all these guys in with Matt Patricia. If Matt Patricia fails, he's with him. You got to go.
All right.
For me, I think he has to go, and here's the reason why. He had 2 years. He made the playoffs first year, kind of inheriting the team. He got a couple players done great. He had 9-7, didn't make the playoffs the next year, so he fires the coach. We're in, to me, we're in the 5th year of his rebuilding, and it's gone down every year. I don't see the improvement. I don't see where he's improved.
Okay. Devil's advocate, Jim. Let's just really quick about this. Did he really have 2 years? I mean, he technically came in. The Fords really loved Jim Caldwell, and he was told to keep him. So
he took the job.
He took the job, but you kept the guy that they told you to keep, and the guy that the guy wanted to keep. I kind of excuse those years. I don't count those.
But those are his best years.
Yep.
You're excusing the 2 years that he actually won. So if you excuse those years, he definitely needs to be fired.
But those teams was, as the fan base would say, was soft.
Hopefully, there's
9-7.
we're not
I'll
talking
take
about
soft,
firing.
man.
Hopefully, we're not talking about it.
Who wants the Lions to trade for Julian Edelman?
No.
Mike.
No.
All right.
Okay, people. That was an April Fool's joke. It's not happening. It never was going to happen. If you're trading for Judy, first of all, let's just follow this. This is why this is an April Fool's joke. If they trade for Julian Edelman, who is staying on this team? So now you essentially have all your money wrapped up in slot receivers. Where they do that at?
Yeah, it's stupid.
It doesn't make sense.
Nope.
All right, Luke, this one's for you. Hey, Luke, what do you think of Raekwon Davis?
I like him a lot. I like him a lot. Is he going to be somebody that's going to change your defense? No, but is he going to be somebody who can take up space? Yes. I think he'll be a good anchor. He'll be a good nose tackle. But outside of that, he's not nobody I'm bringing in to change my defensive line. If I'm a team taking him, I'm looking second round at best.
All right. Can we somehow trade back and get Okudah and Wills?
There's a possibility. There is definitely a possibility. Yeah,
Wills is rated too high. He's rated too high.
He's going like mid first round. So depending on what you get, and with the draft capital we do have, you could potentially use that second first round pick to trade up on top of using a little bit more draft capital.
Listen, all I can say to you is this. Wills is forget what the draft people are saying. Forget that. Just go through and look at the teams who need a tackle. The Washington Redskins need a tackle. So if they trade out of number 2 down to number 5 or number 6, they'll take a tackle. The New York Giants need a tackle. These are teams who invested in quarterbacks. Now you get all these. Arizona Cardinals need a tackle. And then you gotta keep going down the list. We're not done there. This is the few we named. People forget that the Miami Dolphins is still going to find a way to use that first round pick to trade back up to get them another tackle. So no, Wills and Okudah, not possible.
If it did happen, then Quinn, you're a god.
For sure. Rachel Marie Sports, go subscribe to her channel. We had her on Tuesday.
And she will be back. I promise y'all, she will be back.
She will be back. Do you guys think the former Patriot players familiar with Patricia's system that we signed in free agency will be received better if training camp is pushed back? Familiarity seems a plus in that situation.
Yes, I think it will be a positive. Man, if you look in 2011 where we had the lockout, the Lions were doing things on the side. They're doing like their little mini training camps with the players, and it worked out well for us. We started out 5-0. I think having such a familiar players on defense, understanding the scheme, would be a leg up on other teams that don't have that advantage. And it would be a plus, and hopefully we could take advantage of that if that bad scenario occurs.
I also think that those guys coming in can help train the other people that we draft too. They know the system. They're very familiar with it. They've played with Patricia before. And I think it does help the learning curve a lot when you have players that can go out and show them what to do and help out the coach.
I think it don't matter. It really don't. In my opinion, it don't matter how they're going to be received. It's just about getting somebody there that that wants to do the hard work that he's obviously putting them through. Brett Kollmann talked about it earlier where he said that he runs a hard practice. If those guys come in, they working hard and they not complaining and other guys are complaining, you got one or two options. Step up to the plate and compete or get yourself up out of here, because that seems to be the trend right now. So I don't think it matters if it's pushed back or not, but hey, they better make sure that they are serious about it, so they will be setting standards.
I love it, Luke.
All right. Why did the NFL move the schedule announcement back to May? Usually it happens before the draft.
So the schedule announcement, believe it or not, is something that many people don't know, but in the NFL, it is a huge event. It is big. It spawns all type of revenues and money for them, because that's when people start doing what? Preparing their fantasy leagues. When you know who's playing who, you like, oh, I'm taking this defense. That's what it is. So they're pushing it back because they hoping that this thing blow over so they can still have an opportunity to recoup some of that money in the fantasy world by having the schedule be released a little bit later.
All right, Luke G, when we gonna do a film review on my guy Justin Strand? Justin Strand, I think.
I just didn't remember. I gotta remember the school he's at. I can tell you all the time, I don't remember the name until I watch the film. So when I watch the film on him, I would definitely do it. What I've been trying to do, because I'm working from home and I'm technically on the clock now. What I've been trying to do, literally, what I've been trying to do is knock out as many videos as possible, like get them all recorded up, and I'm just gonna drop them back to back, like maybe one or two a day, because I gotta find the time to do it. And while I'm at home, I'm still on dad duty, so I'm father first, YouTuber second. So that's where I'm at. But I'm gonna get around to it, promise you.
All right. I'll go through a couple more questions because we are starting to run a tad long. If Stafford goes down week 1 and is not expected to play the rest of the season, do we pack up the season or no? I'll take this one real fast. Depends on how the defense plays. Dude, if we have a defense in a running game, you don't need the quarterback to save you. Will the defense and running game be able to step up? We'll see. But I think no. You have to see how the defense and running game do.
Do we have a running game too?
Wait, what, Jim?
I said, will we have a running game as well?
Oh yeah, no. Like we have. If the team is good, we will win without our quarterback. If the team is bad, we will lose without him.
Stafford goes down. Get ready for next year's draft, folks, because we're going to get a special quarterback.
We have the almighty Chase Daniels, man. We have the almighty Chase Daniels. It'll be fun.
All right, signing is probably my least favorite, but I already displayed my displeasure in an earlier video. So, I'll take this question from Buffed Up. How much longer will we have this loser Stafford in Detroit?
Oh, seriously?
I'll put it like this. I mean, the real question is how much longer? At least 2 more seasons. If you believe he's a loser, that's the part I don't agree with. How much longer will he be here? At least 2 seasons. And his follow-up question was, can the Lions trade Stafford to the Patriots and take Herbert? They could if you wanted to destroy, if you wanted to kill your entire cap. Yeah, so if you want to kill your entire cap and take almost half of it away, by all means, go ahead and get rid of the guy. They're not going to do it this year. Unlike,
you know what? I almost think that the question should be how much can Stafford put up with the loser in Detroit?
Well,
I think it's how much can his spine handle
carrying this damn team.
All right. Even
bars.
When Brett was on the set, he said Stafford's carried this team forever. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was along those lines. All right, I'm going to find one more question, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and give final words. Let's find one more question. I'll take this one. Do we really know how healthy Stafford is from any reports?
No. In fact, what we do know is that injuries usually compile upon themselves and get worse over time. So even if they do say he's healthy, does not mean that he's healthy to play. He may be healthy enough to be in a game. But no, we do not know. They're going to tell you that he's healthy. They want the other team to think that he's healthy. And it's actually bad for business to tell your right hand what your left hand is doing, even if your right hand is doing great things.
He could be healthy when you look at simply at his spine itself, but as an individual that has multiple spine surgeries, it ain't good, folks. It ain't good, because guess what? It doesn't get better. It just gets worse. So, man, hopefully he can stay upright and he can protect his back as best as humanly possible. But you got to be very worried about 2 broken backs in 2 years, because the spine degenerates. It doesn't get stronger. It degenerates.
That's
All
where
right.
that offensive tackle in the first is going to come in real handy.
Listen, I've been saying this for a while. I don't know why everybody's scared of it, but listen, I'm just putting it out there that I only follow patterns. I don't do anything else. Just follow the patterns.
Follow my mock draft pattern. I think it'll be fairly close to what takes place.
All right, guys, we're coming up on the 1 hour and 45-minute mark. I think we're going to go ahead and give some final words now. I'll start this off because my final words might not make any sense. But first of all, thank you all for coming out. Thank you to Brett for coming onto the live stream. That I loved listening to him talk. It's like he knows everything, it felt like. But here's my final words, because they might not make hope, or they might not make sense. Start embracing hope, or start getting into nightmares, and embrace one of them all the way. If you start embracing nightmares, then you need to start loving them so much to the point that you feel like dreams, that they feel like dreams, and the dreams start feeling like the real nightmares. If you want to embrace hope, then good for you. Embrace it until it all runs out. All right.
I'm gonna go. I think it's neither hope nor nightmares. I don't think that's either of it. It's education. I think that people need to just start getting educated about what they're seeing on the field, and then make a decision. You know, I'm not a big guy on hopium or all that stuff, and I'm a person that just tells it like I think it is. That being said, the whole Stafford thing that drives me crazy. That guy hasn't had a top 10 running game and a top 10 defense his whole career here. And yet we're going to pile on the guy that has basically carried this team for the time that he's been here. But on a positive note, I'm going to try this anyway. You know what? We're living in times that are just, I don't know, very stressful. And what we're doing for the people out there, and PD, I really appreciate you hosting tonight. It's great for the fans and for us to get out and just to be able to talk football, whether we talk positive, negative, or whatever the case may be. I just want everybody to know I want a winner too. We love everybody that came here today in the chat, whether you are with me or against me. You're still Lions fans. You're still one pride.
Sweet. Mike, let's go over to you. Final words.
It was awesome. It was awesome to get our special guest on tonight. I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel like I've been alone on some of my predictions, and it felt good to get a little bit of validation there. So I appreciate him getting on here. And sometimes when you're on an island, man, it's a little nice to get a little different here. But when it comes to DSA, folks, we all have different opinions. Not everyone's just a Lions hater. Not everyone's a Lions homer. We all have different opinions. It's very important to express all different opinions. We all want a winner, regardless of what you hear from us. We are diehard Lions fans. Anyone that talks about a Lions team when you're 3-12-1, damn it, that's a Lions fan. This year, I don't know what's going to happen. Just enjoy the game. If we get a win, enjoy the hell out of it. We don't get a lot of wins. And with that said, folks, this is very, very important. Wash your damn hands. Adios.
Andrew, what do you got for us, man?
Well, it's going to be hard to top that, Mike. I just want to say thanks to Brett. Obviously, it was great to talk to you. And also, I just want you guys to be optimistic. A lot of people hate on our fan base, and I think we have a hell of a fan base. You guys got to bring that passion to the games, bring it to to the social media, everything, show other people that we have a great fan base.
All right, Luke, last words.
Hey, as always, again, thank you so much, Brett, for coming on. We appreciate it. And again, for being able to just say, listen, I'm going to go out and do something if they can't. We need to be able to follow that example. Today's positive quote, and like I always have to end it off on a positive note, today's positive quote comes from someone that we all love, one Mr. Barry Sanders. He says, too often we are scared and scared of what we might not be able to do, scared of what people might think if we try. We let fear stand in the way of our hopes. We say no when we want to say yes. We sit quietly when we want to scream. And we shout with the others when we should keep our mouth shut. Why? After all, we do. Only good comes once in a time. There's really no time to be afraid. Just do it. In other words, stop with the other unnecessary energy into things that does not need your energy. Put it into you. Put that energy into you to get away from all the negativity, to get away from all the things that does not enrich you. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. If you have not subscribed to Brett Kollmann, shameful, you should definitely do so. And if you have not subscribed to one Miss Rachel Marie Sports, you need to do so as well. And the Hood Cam. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research.
Thanks everyone for coming.